Hi guys, it's Miss Young. I am going to be recording our video on how to make our next project. So this project is going to be, hang on, let me get all my stuff, how to make a felt donut, okay? So we have our pattern here, okay? And then we have our packet that looks like this, that will be showing us how to make these cute felt donuts. So I've seen people use these as their pincushion. You could also, I've seen someone try to turn it into a keychain. That's super cool. Or it can just be a cute little plushie, and you can make a bunch of them and make them look like collectibles or something. That's super cute. That's what it will look like at the end. Okay, so everyone should have a tan piece of felt and then a piece of felt in any random color. So we gave either a bunch of different colors or we gave little pieces of one color. So I have this blue and I have brown here. I think I'm gonna make a chocolate covered donut. So I'm gonna get my pieces set aside that I'm gonna use later. And now what I'm gonna do is the first thing we always do, which is cut out our pattern. So I'm gonna cut out my pattern and then I'll come back in a second. Here's just a quick little tutorial really quick. So I've cut out my circle. We need to get this out though, because it's gonna be a donut and we don't want this little donut hole in there, okay? We want to cut out the donut hole. So what you're gonna do is fold it in half like this. Take your scissors and what I do is I cut a little line in the middle, just like that, okay? See, so now I have this hole here. And now what I'm gonna do is use that, hook my scissors through the middle, and start cutting around the edge of my circle, okay? Hang on. Just like this. See how I'm cutting around the edge of my circle? And now you have your two cut pieces. So this is gonna be the donut, and you'll cut two of these. And then this is the little icing part that will go on top of your donut. It's gonna be super cute. So first, set this one aside. Don't use this one yet. Take your circle one and take your tan felt, okay? Now what you're gonna do is take the circle one, pin it to the top edge over here, just like this, pin it all around the circle, and then you're gonna cut this out of the felt, okay? But you wanna leave room down here because you're gonna take your felt donut pattern again and put it on the other half and pin it and sew, okay? So that's what you're gonna do. 1, 2. Pin, cut, pin, cut. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then whenever you play the video back again, we will be ready for the next step. Okay, I cut both of these circles, so now you have two. That's what you were supposed to cut, two of these circles with the holes out of the middle, okay? Now, the next step will be to get this pattern, okay? And pick whatever color felt you want. You should have either brown, blue, yellow, red, pink. We have all sorts of colors. So use the color that you have. And what you're gonna do is you're going to pin this pattern, just like we did before, to your piece of felt. Now this one, you only have to cut once, okay? We're only gonna need one of these pieces. So go ahead and do that, pin and cut. Pin this piece of paper onto your felt and cut once. Okay, so now what you have is this one piece of your icing, okay, and then your 2 halves of your donut. So once it's finished, it'll look like this, super cute, the icing on top. But the next step now will be to set these 2 aside, okay, only focus on this piece, this one. So now everyone has some colorful embroidery thread in their kit, okay? So I have these 3 colors. What I'm gonna do now is decorate this piece with sprinkles, okay? So that's what these pretty colored threads are for. So here's what I'm gonna do. Set this down. I'm gonna get an arm's length of thread, remember? Okay, I'll cut that. And then I'm gonna get my needle. Okay, my needle. And it helps if you have the needle with the bigger eye, okay? Like that. And you'll thread it. Just like that. And let's see. Tie your knot on the end. We're not gonna double thread this one. We're just gonna single thread this one. And if y'all don't remember how to single thread, either look at mine right here, where this tail is here, okay? And then the knot's on this end. Or you can look it up on YouTube too. There's plenty of tutorials on how to do that. Okay, so now, since both sides of this look the same, you're going to pick which side you want to be the ugly side, okay? All you're gonna do now is poke your needle up through the back and pull it through. So now you have a knot on this side, okay? So this side's gonna be my pretty side now. And all you're gonna do is go in and out randomly, and you're making pretty cute little sprinkles. Let's see. Because the packet says, remember, you can look in your packet for all of this information. I'm just here to help you move along, okay? So the packet says pick out 2 or 3 colors of embroidery thread for sprinkles. Cut about 18 inches of thread, that would be an arm's length. Thread onto your needle and tie a knot at the end. That is what we just did, right? So now, bring your needle up through the back of your frosting and stitch a small sprinkle like shown, okay? Just like how I showed you. It's right there in the picture. To make your next sprinkle, just bring your needle back up through wherever you'd like the sprinkle to be, okay? So this one isn't as precise as our normal stitching, because look, my ugly side, look at how big that stitch is. But no one's going to see that because it's going to be on the inside. So I'm just deciding where I want my pretty sprinkles on the front. Let's see. I want a couple here. Okay, so far I have those sprinkles. So I'm going to stop the video, finish my pink, and then I'm going to tie a knot when I'm done with the pink. I'm going to grab my yellow and add some sprinkles in. Add some yellow sprinkles in next, okay? Then I'll do the same thing with my orange. So you pick your colors and decorate however many sprinkles you want on your donut. Quick tip just now as I was making this, I realized, y'all make sure you're not pulling too tight on here, because what will happen is this. See how it's kind of bunching up? It's because my stitches on the back are so big and I'm just spreading them out. So just pull as much as you need to, okay, to get your thread through. Don't pull it as tight as possible, because you want your little sprinkles to just be on there, but you don't want to pull your thread to gather up, okay? Because that's what will happen. You don't want that, okay? So make sure you are just pulling your thread through as far as you need to get your sprinkles to look nice and pretty. Okay, so I finished mine. Look how cute the sprinkles are. So this is the front. It looks super cute, but then you flip it over. Oh no. This is obviously the ugly side. You wouldn't want this side showing, right? It has all our knots and then our randomly sewn, I couldn't think of the word, randomly sewn pieces of thread. Okay, but then this side looks so cute and like little sprinkles. Okay, so now set this one aside because you finished this for now. And go ahead and grab these two, okay? So let's look at our directions. It says, hang on, I gotta flip to it. Took me a second to find that part in the directions, but our next step will be to sew all the way around the edge of the frosting, securing it to the donut, okay? So that means we'll take one of our circle pieces with the hole in the middle and our cute little sprinkled icing, okay? And what you're gonna do is set one on top of the other, just like this, okay? So you'll want the ugly side on top of your felt cream colored donut, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna stitch around our edges of our donuts, okay? So pause it right now, get this all set up just like this, one on top of the other with your other piece sitting on the side. You're not using that yet. Just these two pieces, okay? And now get your neutral colored thread. I have brown. I have the brown embroidery thread. Some of you have black, white, tan, any neutral color, okay? And get about an arm's length again of thread and thread your needle. And then come back to the video and I will show you the next step. Now we have our thread, single threaded again, okay? So we have our little tail hanging off right here, and then we have our knot in the end, okay? So what you're gonna do, you already have this aligned, okay? It's one sitting on top of the other. So I'm about to show you all this stitch. It's super duper easy, way easier than that blanket stitch we had to do and way easier than the back stitch that we had to do, okay? So you're gonna be like, Miss Young, why couldn't we be doing this stitch the whole time? And I'm gonna say, because we weren't making a donut yet. So now we're gonna get to do the stitch. So you're gonna come up through the back, okay? Just like that, going through both layers. So I'm going through the brown and the tan, okay? And I'm gonna pull it through so my knot is in the back, okay? Then what I'm gonna do is go straight back through to the other side, okay? And when I do this, I am not going through both layers. I'm only going through my tan layer when I go back through, okay? So I pull it back through from the back, and whenever I do this, let me try to do it backwards. I don't know if I can. When I go back through, I'm gonna poke just right above my brown, okay? Right above my brown felt. And then pull it straight through. So now, see, they're kind of one next to the other. See? So that is how we will do that stitch. And I'm going to demonstrate that a couple more times. We also have a video of this in Schoology to help you. So I'm going to come back, let's see, up through the back, okay? Pull it through, just like that. And now I'm going to go right above my brown felt, just like that, and then pull. Sometimes things get knotted, okay? Then pull it through, okay? I'm going to do that a couple more times. I'm going to do that for about this much, 2 inches or so, and then I'll show y'all what it's looking like. So pause it right here, and you can go ahead and try it, and when you play it, see if it looks just like mine, okay? I'm back. So, is yours looking like this so far? with the stitches nice and lined up at the top, just like that. Okay. Hang on, let it focus. It's not gonna focus that well. I'm trying to get it in the light though so that you can see. So here are my stitches all along like that. And this is what the back looks like. Okay? Don't worry about the back. The front is what we're worrying about, okay? And you can do these as close or as far apart as you like. I'm doing it like this because that's what it looks like in the packet. And this will help it stay on better. So just keep doing that all the way around, following the curves of the icing, okay? And then once you end over here, tie your knot. And then you're done with that part. So come back whenever you're finished sewing on your icing. Okay, so clearly the lighting has changed because it got kind of dark outside, so I had to turn on the light. But this is what the edges should look like whenever you're all finished with this part. Okay? See how the edges are nice and secured down by those back and forth stitches, okay? And this is what the back looks like on mine, okay? So this is the ugly side, this is the good side, and now our sprinkly piece of fabric is sewn down to this one, okay? So now let's see what the next step says. Okay, so the next step is we are going to sew this piece to this piece so that they stay connected. And the way that we're going to do this, the way it says in our packet that we're going to do this, is we are going to insert the needle between the two donut layers. Okay, so first that would help if I threaded my needle. So we'll do that. Once you've threaded your needle, come back to the video and we will resume. Okay, so now I've single threaded my needle one more time with the knot at the end, okay? So it says to come up through in between the layers. So right now I have it like this. What I'm gonna do is poke my needle up through the brown and the tan of this piece and pull it through so my knot stays. Now I'm going to layer my two pieces just like this. So my knot is in between the two layers, right? There's no knot on the back right here, it's right there, right there. So now I have my two layers. What we're gonna do is sew around this hole right here, and that's gonna hold these layers together until we sew around the edges as well. So let's go ahead and start. This is called a whip stitch, okay? There is a video of how to do this in Schoology, but you can also watch me right here. So as I was saying, our whip stitch. So I have it in the middle, just like I showed you, okay? And now I'm gonna put it up through the back, okay? Up through the back, just like that, okay? And pull that through. I've already done another stitch, so you'll kind of be able to see it. So see, it's connecting all of my layers just like that. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to do that stitch all the way around. And again, if you get confused, make sure you watch in Schoology. There is a video. Oh, see, I just did it. Here's something you might end up doing, okay? And I'll show you how to fix it. So what you're going to do, my problem here is I have a loop and I'm pulling this through and uh-oh, see how it's all the way around? It's all the way around my donut. That's not how I want it, okay? So what I'm gonna do is, since I don't have a knot tied up here on my needle, I'm just gonna pull the thread out and then I'm gonna go to this stitch right here and pull that out, okay? So that I can start that stitch all over again, okay? So now I'm just gonna thread my needle as if I never messed up and no one will ever know. So what you need to make sure you do whenever you're working on this is to come back up through and make sure all of your thread is in the front and that it's not wrapped around, okay? So let me see if I got it this time. And I did, okay? So it's right now. Now it's lined up right next to the other one. Okay, so I'm going to do that all the way around, and then I'll see you when we get back. So now I've made it to my last step. I've sewn all the way around like this. The back looks like this, okay? And it's my 2 layers sewn together, okay? But I'm at the end where I want to tie my knot, or you ran out of thread and you want to tie your knot. What you're going to do is you're going to come from the front, poking into your fabric, lining up with one of your stitches, okay? You're going to come in through the middle piece, okay? Don't go through both this time, only go through one, and pull your stitch through. So see, you can't even really see where I did my stitch. I did a tiny one right there. You can kind of see it. But now what that means is that your thread is in between your 2 layers. So when you tie your knot now, it's not going to be in the back, it's going to be in the middle, okay? So do your knot just like we normally do, where we stick it either under a stitch or slip it underneath our fabric a little bit, catch our fabric just a little bit, and then you stick it through the loop. Remember, we stick it through the loop once and we pull, then we catch our fabric again, just like that, and then we find our loop, stick it through our loop, and pull, okay? So now we have our nice knot right there, and you can cut that, okay? So that was the next step, and it's okay if it got a little bit uneven as you were doing that. The next step that we do whenever we sew it all together, that'll kind of even out any mistakes that we had. Also, remember, while you're doing this, you can be pinning it, pinning all your pieces together, and yeah. So that looks super cute, right? Now all that's left is our edge around here, and we're gonna put some stuffing in, okay? So pause this now while you get your other neutral thread or the same neutral thread you've been using, okay? This is the piece we're going to use to sew around here. So get some thread, an arm's length of thread, okay? And your needle, thread that, single thread it with a knot on the end, and once you do that, play the video again to do the next step. Now, the next step is super simple. Since we've already done this part, the next step's going to be easy. Okay, so what you're going to do is take your thread with the knot on the end, okay? Come up through the middle, just like we did last time. We're in the middle piece, okay? That way our knot doesn't show. So pull it through so that your knot is right there. And what we're going to do is the same stitch that we did before, the whip stitch, okay? So see, I'm in the front right now. That's where my thread is. I'm going to come back straight through the back, okay? So that it's in the front again, okay? And that wraps it around, okay? So go ahead and do your whip stitch just like this, all the way around, keeping them kind of close together because this is what's going to hold our whole thing together, okay? So let's see. See, these are even kind of far apart to hold it together. So I'm going to get a little closer on my next few stitches. I'm going to go a little bit, then I'm going to show you what it looks like. So you go ahead and go about this far from here to here, okay? And then play the video again to see if it looks like mine. Okay, so here's what mine is looking like so far. I've gone from here to over here. I know that's kind of hard to see, but I'm trying my best. There is my stitch all the way across, connecting my layers. So when I go like this, see, it's going to be connected. So now what you're gonna do is read your directions, okay? When you read your directions, they say, stitch all the way around until you have about an inch of unstitched space. So I'm gonna go, here's my starting point, all the way around, okay? All the way around here, and I'm gonna leave about this much open, okay? Because what we're gonna do when we get to there is we're gonna stuff it with some of our filling that we have, okay? It's gonna make it a cute little plushie, and it's gonna make it come to life and be 3D. So that is super cool. So go ahead and finish your stitching all the way around, okay? Until you get to about 1 inch of open space. And then come back to the video and I'll show you how to do that step. That's probably the most fun part. Okay, so now I've made it all the way around to the end right here. Okay, and I'm leaving this open for my stuffing. But you want to tie a knot, right? So you're going to go through your fabric, okay? Make a little bitty stitch through the first layer, okay? Just like that, a little stitch. You can't even really see it right there. It kind of blends in with the other ones. Now it's in the in-between layer. And what you're gonna do is make your knot like normal. Remember how we make our knots? You stick them underneath your fabric or underneath a stitch, and then you find your loop and you pull it through. Oop, lost it. Okay, so now that I did that, you do that twice. Let me rethread my needle. Okay, so you do that twice and then you can cut it. Okay, and now come back in just a second after you do that and we'll stuff this. Okay, yay. Okay, I'm back with my donut with the inch open and some polyfill. Okay, so what you're gonna do is take a little bit of your polyfill and try to tuck it into your donut, okay? Just like that. So now it's in there. But what I want you to do is use a pencil and kind of push it in. So it doesn't matter, just something pointy with an end like this that you can push the polyfill in with, okay? So there, see? It's starting to fill it up. So now grab some more polyfill, okay, and stuff it in. That was kind of a lot. Maybe do a little less than I just did. It's easier. Okay, so I'm stuffing it in. You can also use your fingers instead of a pencil or something, but I like to use a pencil because it can really get every little edge and stuff it nice and smoothly, okay, all even and stuff. Okay, but you'll want to poke it with the eraser side down. That's what I do anyways, so that it doesn't poke a hole in what I'm working on. Okay, here we go. I'm using my finger right now just to kind of push it around. And now I filled this side, so stick some polyfill in through this side, fill it around, and then join me again in the next video, the next part of the video after you've filled it, okay? And I'll show you how we're gonna sew it up. So now I filled it up as much as I can without breaking it. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sew up this last little part. So my stuffing's kind of coming out, so what you can do is you can pin it along here, okay, while you're sewing so that it will stay just like that. And what we are gonna do is our same stitch we were doing all along here, you'll start that again right here, coming through the middle and just doing your whip stitch across. And then you'll finish it. And I'll show you at the end, come back after you finish that part, and I will show you how to tie your knot at the very end. Okay? So go ahead and do that part. Close up this opening. Okay, so the way I've decided that we are going to tie our knot at the end, okay, so see all of my hole that was there is all sewn up now. And the way we're going to tie our knot, okay, is we are going to poke our needle from our last stitch at the front, okay, and go all the way to the back. So now our thread is sticking out of the back right there, okay? And I know so far all of our knots are on the inside, but to make this a little simpler, we are going to have one knot on the outside, okay? So you're going to do your knot like normal, where you stick it under a stitch or through a tiny part of your fabric, just like that, okay? Pull it halfway through and make sure you go through your loop, okay? So pull that and tighten, okay? And then do that one more time so that it forms a knot, okay? Then you'll pull that through, find your loop, go through your loop, and pull. So that made a nice little knot right there, okay? So now we only have one knot on the back of our piece, but that made it a lot easier to tie and finish off, okay? And you'll just cut it super close to the knot, just like that, and you can barely even see it, okay? But now we have our finished little plushy donut. See, it's squishy, super cute, and super fun. So you're done now. Good job, guys. I hope y'all had fun making your little donut plushie, and I hope you show all your friends and family, and then maybe you can make them one. Make sure you save your pattern for if you do want to make one in the future, and have fun, guys.